Today is March 2nd, 2021, and this is your daily Half-Life 3 update. There is no news about Half-Life 3. So yesterday, I asked you guys for questions, and I got some of them here. I'm going to try and just answer these off as quickly as possible. Try and get through as many as I can. Wang Mahler asks, what article are you talking about? Why did someone write something slanderous about you? First part of that question is there's an article on Game Rant talking about me and the fact that I've been doing daily Half-Life 3 updates for about 3 years, and in that article they say a close contact of mine claims that I live in severe poverty, which is not true and is, slanderous in my opinion, because I don't live in severe poverty, and that's now the record of me. That's on the internet, and that's annoying. And then the second part is, why did someone write something slanderous about me? I don't know. There's just mean people in the world. Now, Boxy Brown asked, where do you check for news on Half-Life 3? If I really look for news, it's mostly just Google. But honestly, if there was news about Half-Life 3, it would probably just show up in my recommended page when I go on the internet. It gives me news articles that it thinks I think are important. For example, that's how an article about myself came up. So let's see. Paul the Fonz asks, what gives you the most joy in life? I guess talking with my friends, maybe. I don't know. What is it? Random person online asks, how do you feel every time a lot of people find your channel? It's very weird. It's a very odd thing. It's extremely surreal that this is going on. I never really expected this to happen, not as quickly as it did. I kind of figured it would grow, just extremely slowly. So when Austin McConnell gave my channel a shout out, and I jumped from 100 subscribers to 5,000 in a week, that was extremely crazy and way more than I expected. I figured that it would take me 10 years to reach where I am today, not 3. But where I am today took 2 years to reach, because I've stalled quite a bit. An internet user, these great usernames here, asks, other than the Half-Life series, what's your favorite game? I'll have a couple I'll rattle off here. Halo. I like Halo a lot. Simpsons Hit and Run, Indigo Prophecy, Fallout 4, my favorite of the Fallout games. BioShock is good. Some of the older Lego Star Wars stuff. I didn't mean to put my finger at the screen. A lot of original Xbox stuff I really enjoy a lot. Okay, I already answered that. Sorry, guy. He was there first, I guess. Ryan McBride asks, has anyone ever told you that you kind of look like Gordon Freeman? I've gotten that a couple times from other people on the channel, but no one in the real world knows who Gordon Freeman is, let alone what he actually looks like, because that's, not completely common. So it never happened in the real world. Mega Pac-Man, I guess, with 4s instead of A's, asked if I'm excited for any new films or TV shows to come out this year. My most anticipated film of the year is my most anticipated film of last year, so that's fun, which is Venom 2. I'm really looking forward to Venom 2. I hope I get to see it at some point in my life. There was a lot of movies that were supposed to come out last year, and Venom 2 was supposed to come out in October, and that was very, very disappointing. TV shows, I can't really think of anything off the top of my head that I'm looking forward to. There's not many TV shows that I'm all that excited for, honestly. I mean, there's some like potential, like, oh, maybe they'll make a reboot of this, but you know, who knows what will happen. Okay, Mr. Exists asked if I was talking about the Gameway article. Yes, I was. He says, first of all, slander in print is libel. Thank you, J. Jonah Jameson. I too have seen the first Spider-Man movie, and what the article said wasn't libelous at all. I think it was. I don't live in severe poverty, but whatever you say. Okay, I have a Zuck asked, what keeps you doing this? Has it just become a habit at this point? Yeah, it honestly has just become a habit. I do this every single day. 5-minute long videos so far. I got. For how long? Okay, read the guy's name first. GOCK asked, for how long have you known the Half-Life franchise? I want to say about 2004 is when I first played Half-Life 2 on original Xbox. So since then, yeah. Blaze Cat asked, what will you do when Half-Life 3 is announced? I was going to say something, but now I think the only appropriate thing is to say would be that spoilers. Just setting something up there I'm going to regret later. Now I've got anticipation and expectations. I say... Adam McGarity asks, what is the most recent Lego you bought? The most recent Lego set I bought was there was a Lego set based on The Mandalorian, I suppose season 2. I believe it's like Trouble on Tatooine or something. It's got the Mandalorian in his new Beskar armor and the child and a sand person, Tusken Raider, whatever they're actually called. I don't know. I've never seen The Mandalorian, but it was a pretty cool set, and you want to have the child in Lego form at some point, and I don't want to spend like $130 on the Razor Crest since they blew that up anyway, I heard. Kabir Kumar asked, he got 2 questions. You want to know what I do for a job, like my main source of income? I'm an electrician. I work in shipbuilding. I help build ships, I guess, like big ships, like Navy type ships, sort of. He also asked, do you want to make any other project videos, commentaries, comedy, documentaries? I do some video game commentaries. I would love to do movie commentaries. I wouldn't do it by myself if I would get other people to do it with me, but that doesn't seem possible since everybody I know is a loser. I thought about doing a couple documentaries. I was like, I should do a Half-Life 3 documentary. I bet nobody's ever done that. Of course, somebody's done that. What Larry Jack asked, what is the best slash worst Half-Life 2 chapter to you? I did talk about this once. I made a top 15 video where I talked about my 15 favorite Half-Life 2 chapters. I included the end credits to make it 15. But that's not really a chapter. But my favorite is definitely Entanglement. There's a lot going on in that episode, and it's kind of like the tipping point where it's the first time you're really going on the offensive instead of kind of being defensive the entire time. And my least favorite chapter, which is not to say it's the worst, is probably Water Hazard. It feels kind of long, a little repetitive, not much interesting going on, but it's not bad. It's just my least favorite. Favorite is definitely Entanglement. Zero the Norse asks, what is your favorite branch of science? Probably like theoretical physics. There's some cool stuff there, like time travel and shit. Luigi Ness, I don't know, asks, do you prefer Portal or Half-Life? Do you wish for a Portal 3 as well? Portal, I definitely prefer Half-Life over Portal, no question. I'd be fine with the Portal 3. I mean, Portal does exist in the Half-Life universe, so anything within the Half-Life universe would be well appreciated. So I wouldn't mind that. It's not number one on the priority. Real Proxim asked, will the title really be Half-Life 3? I've talked about this. The title of Half-Life 3 may not be Half-Life 3. It just has to be the game that takes place after Half-Life 2, in which the game where you play as Gordon Freeman following the events of Half-Life 2. They could call it something else, Half-Life Revelations, Half-Life Gordon. I would just hope that it's called Half-Life 3. That's what I would want it to be. Noodle New 22 asks, what is your favorite Half-Life creature? I never really thought about that. That's interesting. Maybe the Antlions? I don't know. Remember that big Antlion thing? The boss Antlion. Like charges at you and headbutts you into the wall. That's kind of cool. Own It Kid asked, what was your weirdest dream? That's a whole ball game that I don't have the time to get into, so I'm going to get into something else. One of the recurring nightmares that I used to have, I haven't had it in years, is I would be in a house and I'd be in a room with the light on, but the rest of the house didn't have any of the lights on. So I got to turn all the lights on in this house. So I would go to the next room and turn the light on, and then go to the third room and turn the light on, and then I would realize wait a second, the lights in the first room, they're off. I got to go back to the first room, turn that light back on, but that light won't turn back on. And then the second room, the light turns on. So it's kind of like me struggling to keep the lights on in the house, and things would be going darker and darker, and I wouldn't. That's not really the weirdest dream I've had, but it's maybe the scariest. The weirdest dream is just too long to get into. It's like a series. It's like a continuing saga of just a weird scenario. It involves Godzilla and an asteroid strike and a rave. It's really weird. Senato X asked, how long do I think it will be until we get a Half-Life 3 announcement? This video is 12 minutes long. Goodness gracious. How long? At the earliest, I want to say 2028. If I'm being realistic. I've talked about this before too. We'll get Half-Life 3 eventually. It's just going to kind of be for a little bit. Valve's going to make other VR games. Valve has independent properties they want to make. They has other properties they want to make sequels to. Like they maybe want to do something for Portal, maybe want to do something for Left 4 Dead. They want to make new original stuff, and they're going to keep making Half-Life stuff, but just like with Half-Life and Half-Life 2, they're not going to go directly to the sequel, so we'll get some type of smaller expansion-like games for Half-Life Alyx, something similar to Blue Shift or the Half-Life 2 episodes. So Half-Life 3 will be, a couple years definitely until we get any type of announcement for it. But a Half-Life game won't be as long. I could see us having a Half-Life game by 2025, and this is somebody who knows absolutely nothing about Valve or what's going on. Ask that Tyler guy. He knows more about it than me. And oh yeah, that was the last question. So there you go. It wasn't too long. Kind of rambled on. And that has been your daily Half-Life 3 update for March 2nd, 2021.